everyone, it is Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters, and thank you for joining me for another Scrapmadness Scrapping March, every day of March video. So I am using this super cute cut file that I created myself to scrap these photos of my son Thomas way back when he was still getting the hang of tummy time. I've been holding on to these for quite a while because I really had no inspiration as to how I wanted to scrap them. I really wasn't sure. I just loved his face in these and I knew I wanted to scrap them, and then that was about it. So in the photo on the bottom right, you can quite easily see the large lion that is there, so I decided to pick that up in the cut file. And then my background, watercolor background that I made using Distress Oxide ink refills and then a little bit of Heidi Swap Color Shine, is picking up the purples that are the other colorings in the mat. So I was happy with that idea. And then I've got the Chamel Little You collection out, and I'm just trying to bash a little bit more of that because I've still got quite a bit of that left hanging around. I've really been hoarding the super gorgeous animal like figures pictures, but I thought it was about time I started using some of these things up. That's why we have them after all. So just having a play with the placement. So I've gone through the collections and picked out the bits and pieces that I thought I might like to use on my layout. And now I'm just having a play with the placement of where I think they will look best and are best to go. The lion cut file is quite large there in the middle of the page. So it's, kind of dominating the page, which is totally fine. That is kind of a cut file's job, but I do want to make sure that I get everything else on there without losing my photos. The photos are also my focus, so just fiddling around with that. I'm having sort of three main clusters, but quite large ones. So Janet from over at RTS Scrapbooking has often talked about her three clusters being her 75% cluster, her 50% cluster, and her 25% cluster. So I often keep that in the back of my mind when I am fiddling around with my clusters. And so sort of where that large floral piece is, the lion, the word love, and then the two tags is quite a large cluster. And then there's just a little tiny one with the little pink rabbit and another little floral piece, or flourish more like, a bit of leaves. And then there's this one I'm working with now that's over beside this photo. So I kind of feel like this is my 50, the one I'm playing with now. There's the big one with the little lion ephemera, that's sort of my 75. And then where the pink bunny is my 25% cluster. Now I don't stick to that rule always, but when I have a layout that's already causing me dramas or causing me mojo issues like this one was, like I've literally had these photos printed and put inside an album for probably a year, which I know isn't a really long time, but it kind of is in terms of having I scrapbook chronologically, so I've got all the layouts around this photo done and it's just still hanging. It's even in the album, just not scrapbooked. So if you're flicking through Tom's first year album, you get to this blank page with two photos just hanging out in the bottom of the page protector, but with nothing scrapbooked. So this one really was sort of hanging over my head for a little bit. So I found when I'm feeling a little bit, stumped for things to think for creating, and I just feel really pressured also to get this done, because the pressure is obviously all on myself and all from myself, but I really hated looking through his album and seeing this one layout that I still hadn't finished yet. So I tend to think, go as easy as you can then. Find a sketch that you really love that's just going to make it easier for you, or stick with the scrapbooking, rules and inverted commas that are just going to make life easy for you. So I made a big cut file because I knew that was going to dominate the page, and sometimes that can be helpful and sometimes that can be a hindrance, but in this case I was hoping it was going to be helpful because it was taking up a big chunk of the page for me and was therefore limiting what I had to try and fill with my creativity. And then I stuck with my make 3 clusters and make those clusters 75, 50 and 25% clusters, and I just kind of rolled with that. I also pulled out a kit that had a collection in it and was ready to go, so I wasn't trying to match things as I went along. The matching was already done for me. So just try and make it as easy as you can is my motto, especially when you're feeling the pressure. So playing around with the placement of that photo, if I wanted it on top of the cut file or underneath the cut file, I decided I'd alternate and have one on top and one under. So I really wanted to make sure you can see just the gorgeous smile that Thomas is giving me in that second photo. So not this one here that I'm working on, but the next one. So it was definitely going to go on top of the cut file and be, I don't know, like not missed, because his face is just divine. And I do have to be careful where I place the floral. I don't mind the floral touching the top of his head, but I don't want it to draw away from that face, that beautiful face. Look at him. He's actually currently sick. He's got ear infections in both ears, so I'm getting my fix of gorgeous smiles by looking at photos, because he does not feel like giving me many. He'll occasionally sneak out one, but when you just feel rotten, it's very difficult. So how are you going? Are you scrapping along with us in this March Madness? I do not blame you if you are not. I obviously share this channel with Katie, so I'm only creating 15 layouts for the month, and my goodness, 15 was more than enough for me to try and keep up with. I am, struggling, scrapping late at night, that is for sure. And then obviously with 2 boys and working, I am practically full-time, so I'm tired. But hey, I'm talking to other women and other mums that know the juggle, and we all know that it's not like this forever, and we love it. We do. We complain because that's our prerogative, but we love it. Wouldn't want it any other way. Just took the boys out to this free, they called it a festival, over at a local football ground. There were rides, there were stalls, there were food trucks, there were performances. It was really fantastic. The boys had a lovely, lovely time. Thomas, of course, just sat in his pram and didn't really have the energy to do much, but I think after being stuck at home for a week, he found that he was quite liked being out in the sunshine. It's a beautiful day today. It's actually really hot. The temperature gauge said it was going to be 25 degrees Celsius, but it actually feels quite a lot hotter than that. So it's just lovely. So I am busy popping things up and scrapping things down. You'll notice on the back of the lion cut file that he had red strips. I'd actually cut up some of my foam. So I've got glitter foam that I actually buy in A3 size from a cheap craft shop. Comes in a variety of colours. I've got gold and silver and white and copper and black and red and light blue and dark blue. Anywho, I am running out of foam tape, so I've just used my normal tape adhesive to stick that glitter foam to the back of my cut file to pop it up, because it's about $2.50 for the full A3 sheet, which is pretty cheap, I think, in comparison to how much foam there is on a foam tape and how quickly you can go through that. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I actually almost bought one of my regular listeners and commenters and supporters told me about this great foam tape over at Bunnings, and I was looking at it again just the other day, thinking about buying it, but Thomas was pulling everything off the shelf, so I still haven't bought it, but thank you for the tip. It's one of those foam tapes that's like huge in diameter, like 20 centimeters in diameter, because it's just like, a super huge roll, and it is about $13 for the huge roll, but I think it looked like you're getting $13 worth of foam tape. I did just have to do the maths and check how that works with Kaiser Crafts 50% off sales, because their foam tape's about, I think it's about $1.50 if you wait for a 50% off sale. So I do want to check how much is on one of their rolls and how much is on one of these big rolls and just see where the maths adds up. Because I could dig a really giant roll of foam tape, I think. So yes, thank you again for pointing that out to me and reminding me to go and check it out. So my layout is almost finished. I'm just going to add on a few of the fancy embellishments that come as extra bits and pieces from the Little You collection. And I'm also going to pop on my title. So I played around with this title quite a bit. I had like Our Lion King and, you know, The Lion Sleeps Tonight or something like that. Something lion-y and kitschy. But decided to go with something equally as kitschy, but not that. Great! Jack is just playing Star Wars in the background. So here we go, Wild About You. So I am done. Here are my close-up photos.
Baby layer.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So I am really happy with the way this has turned out. I've popped on my journaling that I typed using my old typewriter. I did pop on a few of those flare buttons and a few of the tiny little puffy stickers because they're just gorgeous. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.